right. So the presentation is called PPAP, so Dosarul cu Șină in Automotive, and you'll have to explain this to Max, what it means, since he's not fluent in Romanian, I understood. So I had a feeling that he will be here today, so that's why the presentation is in English, but it will be about quality management process, and I will tell you more about it. First of all, thank you for the invitation. It's very nice to be here again, also as a former employee of Bosch, and this is a center of the automotive world for me here in Cluj, so I'm happy to have this presentation here. I believe next month you will be at our offices for the launch of the October issue, and hopefully we will also have a presentation in this area. But a few months ago, I think in summer, you were also at our place, and Ovidiu Popa, or our head of consulting of Petrei, he had a presentation about our team, and I think a question was left in the air about what we do. So my name is Ramona Lazăr. I'm from P3 Romania today, and these are some key figures about our company. It is a German company based in Stuttgart with almost 2,000 employees. I think next year it will be 30 years old. But we don't do just consultancy. These are the three main pillars of our activities. And I hope my colleague Paul is also here today. He will tell you more about Android in automotive later today. I will talk about, as I said, a quality management process that we do. And you can find it, I would say, here in product process compliance. This is where most of the consultants in our company do have their activities. As you can see, we are spread around the world, and looking at the locations in Europe and in Germany, you will see we're trying to stay close to the customers that we have. As I said, the main office is in Stuttgart. This is also where my client is. So I've been working for Porsche now for more than 2 years in the process that I will show to you. And yes, you can find us at the locations here or in Cluj next month. All right, so I don't know how many of you have heard of PPA or PPAP or the VDA. I see some triggered faces. But if you've worked in automotive, for sure you have a process or a product that needs to be approved, that needs to be released. Whether this is a European OEM, a German one, an American one, a Chinese one, you definitely need to go through this. So PPAP stands for either Production Part Approval Process or PPA, Procesul de Aprobarea Pieselor de Producție, in română. The Germans call it PPAP or Bemusterung. It doesn't matter, it's the same. Yeah? So in Europe, we go by, we follow this manual of the VDA. It's not a standard, it's not a law, it's a manual published by the VDA, which details the requirements of a car manufacturer to their suppliers. So whether it's in an ECU or just hardware or just software, this is a manual of roughly 100 pages, and it has to be followed when you put out, before starting the production of a product. All right. If you're working with American manufacturer or Chinese manufacturers, you will probably follow the IAG. This is the counterpart of the VDA. This is the American Association, and they have a similar manual. You will probably go by that, which is different. However, the basis of it is indeed a standard. It's the IATF 16949, which is also known as the Quality Bible. Each of you working in the automotive industry does something according to it, either you know it or not. So this is how the manufacturers put in place the PPAP process following this standard. All right, good. What are the outcomes of this process? So what does it regulates, first of all, that the product is in place, but also the production process. Yeah, so it's always two main points that we are looking at. And of course, this process has to be standardized. So nowadays, with so many suppliers, the VDA manual puts in place a standardization of this process. And of course, the supplier needs to know what do I need to deliver to my client so he can accept my product. But the main objective that we need to keep in mind is that you as a supplier, because Bosch is a supplier, yes, need to fulfill all the requirements of your customer, whether they are technical, so functional or non-functional requirements, the legal requirements, cybersecurity, safety requirements. You need to prove that by going through this process, the PPA process. All right. What else is important? The latest edition came out in 2020, and there were some aspects that were added. And one of them is the fact that there is an agreement made once you have won the project. Yeah. So let's say you're winning a project. You as Bosch, you're winning the project with Porsche. Let's say. Yeah. You should, and you don't have to, but you really are encouraged by the VDA Association to have an agreement at the beginning to say what will you ask for me at the end, because the process of development might take years, right? So there's even an annex offered as an example in the manual, so you can put there all the details. How many sample parts do you deliver? Where are your production places? How should the software look like? What is the required ASPICE level? And so on. Okay, when do we use it? We use it, of course, for new parts. We use it when you change your parts, when you reuse your parts, or when the customer wants to, or you want to requalify that product. And you use it for finished parts, of course, for spare parts, for raw parts, even for production materials, of course, as long as they are not the standard ones which are defined by EMDS, right? And a new addition to the 2020 edition is that we also do now PPA for software as a product or for software as part of a product. Yeah, and this is, I can imagine, or I remember, the case of most of your projects. Yes, your software goes into a system, it goes into an ECU, and it has to go through this PPA process. You might not have been involved until now, could be, but for sure, the work that you do here flows into the deliverables of the PPA process. Okay, how does it end? Yeah. Also, with the latest edition, in theory, it can end two ways. In practice, it ends in a third way. Okay, so the best case is that you get your okay, you close the process, you can start the production. The second case is you've done something wrong, you have not fulfilled all the requirements, the process is stopped. In reality, you get away with it a little. Okay, so you usually get a management release. Does it say no? You usually get a management release for some of the deviations you might still have in your product. Yeah. So let's say for a limited period of time, you can produce those parts, or for a limited number of parts, you can deliver them, and then fix that problem, and then you'll have to repeat the process. All right. Good. This is an image from the manual from chapter 6, which shows the flow of the PPA process, which is split into two parts. don't worry, I won't get into all the details of it, but it's important to see that you have two levels. Yeah. So first the organization, which is the supplier, and the customer. And why is it important? Because also a new addition, to the 2020 edition of the volume, is that the supplier shall do a self-assessment first in his organization. Yeah. So first, do the process for yourself, and then go with that recommendation or your internal results to the customer and say, okay, we are done, we are ready, or we still have some work to do. Here are some deviations, and please, customer, let me get by with these deviations, and I will fix them in a matter of, I don't know, months or weeks or whatever. What's also important is that it may be required that you deliver some samples to the client, and also remember to agree on that. How many samples does he need? Some clients need 2 samples, some clients need 20 samples. And also expect the client to come to your location. Yeah, so expect the client to say, I want to come to Juku and see the production line for myself. That's also something he can do. What's a complete showstopper are the legal requirements, yes, for reasons we can imagine. So once you have not fulfilled a legal requirement, the process is automatically stopped. If you're producing a product in Juku or in Blaj or in Abstadt, you will have to do this PPAP process every time. Yeah, so you have to go through it every time, even if it's the same product family. Of course, you can still use some deliverables, all right? So you don't have to do an ASPICE assessment every time. You can use, if the project team is the same, there are things that you can reuse, all right? And the harmonization. So don't worry if you have an American customer or a Chinese customer. In the following months or years, they will somehow align the VDA and the IAG. I know for the Chinese suppliers, they're already using a hybrid of IAG and VDA. And for sure, in the next years, we will have just one version of this process. Good. 2 more slides I want to show you. I don't know if I mentioned it at the beginning, but what I do for Porsche is mainly the software part. Yes, so the hardware, the production part, is taken care of another colleague, and I look at the I'm responsible for the software part, and this is the part. These are the deliverables in the manual that are required for the software part. And again, I will not go through all of them. You see there are 11 points that are required. And if you have a good product maturity, if you have done this before, it will be nothing more than a Dosarul cu Șină. Yeah? So you'll be fine. But these 2 chapters are, we see in practice, sometimes challenging, and they might cost you a lot of effort, and then they might put you at risk in front of your customer. So the first one is 6.5, the requirement implementation. So there you will have to prove to your customer that you have implemented everything he has required, everything he has not required, but has required indirectly. Yeah. So if you're working with Porsche, going back to my example, you will also have the Volkswagen requirements that you have to implement. All right. So, or the legal requirements, the functional safety requirements. Everything will pop up a few months before you're done, and everybody will look at the requirements manager or the system architect and ask him, okay, how do we show it? Well, it's not that easy, all right? So start in time and make sure that you have all the requirements, all the Lastenhefte, yeah, all the agreements with your customers put in place, and everything is agreed and clean. Also, if you use several tools, I don't know, maybe you work indoors, one of your sub-suppliers works in another system, getting everything aligned, and also the testing, yeah, the test results, to prove them at the end it might kill your PPA. It might bring delays in your project, and I can tell you for sure that it does more often than you think. The last point is the ASPICE requirement. I don't know how many of you have been involved in, I see some triggering on your faces. All right, so also plan this ahead of time. Yeah, ASPICE is not something that you can achieve easily. Clarify what the customer wants from you, what level. Usually Volkswagen asks for level 2. I hope that's also what your clients ask. But you need a solid team for this. You need mature project for this. This is nothing that you can achieve in a few months. All right. So, good. Then I will jump to the last slide. I hope I still have some minutes. All right. And this is the slide where I mapped my responsibility as a software quality planner. Your organization might call it somehow else, I don't know. But this is the role that was implemented by Volkswagen to make sure that the suppliers of their companies in the group follow the PPA process, the software quality planner. Yeah. And here in the middle, on the middle swim lane, you will see the production milestones, the main one. Yeah, so I've not put here all the small milestones, but here mapped, you can see the part where we plan the activities with our direct counterparts from the suppliers. So we do a quality management plan. We say, okay, these are the metrics and these are the KPIs that we will follow. These are the milestones that we agree on. And for example, this is the ASPICE target that you need to achieve. This is the planning part. This is the easy part, all right? The big chunk of work is done here, where we manage the project together with the technical colleagues, right? So here we monitor that the KPIs are reached, that we see the risks in time, that the supplier sees the risks in time, and we also escalate. So you really don't want to go through an escalation program with Volkswagen. Try to avoid that. How can you do that? Make sure that the quality planner of your customer has a counterpart in your organization, all right? So this person will go to your project team and ask for the KPIs, ask for measures, ask for good planning, all right? And here in the end, you see the PPA is actually just a small part, last part of the process. Once you have done all of this, based on all of this, you will be fine, and at the end you will have the Dosarul Șină to Volkswagen and done.
Looks like a really nice process.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so we have, if it's fine, we have time for one question if you have one from the audience. Okay.
A question related maybe to the collaboration part. How do you deal with the team when they have to implement and you have to get them to agree to the processes, and how does that work?
Well, luckily I'm on the client side, you know, and my counterpart at the supplier side has these challenges. But the most challenging part of my job at Porsche is indeed to work with the technical team at Porsche side, because they're just as unhappy to have quality activities of any kind just as your supplier or you as suppliers. Yeah, so I would say that the most challenging part of anybody doing quality management in automotive is having this synergy with the technical teams. Indeed, either you're an OEM or a supplier.
Okay, thank you, Ramona. And if you have